Okay, welcome to Down Payment Assistance. The majority of this is for Texas. So for people that might be seeing this later, Texas is the majority. There are some federal programs that we're going to go over that are available to, of course, people in Texas and all over the U.S. So welcome. This is going to go 35 to 40 minutes long. Chat button, if you want to ask a question, you can chat anytime and I'll keep an eye on that. So welcome to the webinar. Okay. All right. So first, this is going to be posted on my YouTube channel once we're done, so you can revisit anytime. Please subscribe, Loan with Jen. There's a button when you subscribe, a bell. These are the 3 playlists that I've got. I release 2 to 3 videos a week. Mortgage education, different things about loans. Webinars like this one with all different kinds of topics. You can see some topics there on the screen. And then every Tuesday I do business tips. Those are usually for the realtors that refer us, but anyone in any kind of business can benefit from it. So please subscribe to our channel. We would appreciate that. All right, what you will learn today, we're going to talk about the types of assistance. We're going to go into some granular detail about that. I've got website links and different ins and outs of the different assistance. Pros and cons of the assistance. As I talk through each one, we'll talk about the pros and the cons, and then how to access the assistance. All right, these are some myths on home buying assistance. All help is only available for first-time home buyers. That is not true. There is down payment assistance for people that are not necessarily first-time home buyers. So that's fantastic. Every first-time home buyer gets assistance. That is not true. As you're gonna learn, there are income limitations, depends on income limits, size of your family, county that you live in. Different counties are different. And is it a targeted area versus a non-targeted area? So we're gonna go through that. Every lender has every program. That is not true. So the ones that I'm going over, we definitely do have. There might be some down payment assistance out there that we don't carry. So I'm not going over that in this, but this webinar will encompass many assistance programs. So you'll get a ton of information. All right, the first one that we're going to go over, let's see, make my slides go here. Okay, these are the main types of assistance in Texas. Okay, we've got the federal programs that are available to anyone in the U.S. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have a program called the Home Ready or the Home Possible program, and USDA also has a program that's for more rural areas. That's usually in cities like especially Houston that's developing. It's usually the outer edge of where the development is happening. So if you're buying in a more remote developing area, definitely worth it to look up there. We're going to go through that. The mortgage credit certificate, we're going to go over what that is. And that's available to first-time home buyers. You have to be a first-time home buyer, and we'll go through the requirements. It's a refund on your tax return every year. So definitely many people can qualify for that. We've got TDHCA, TSAC, and SETH programs. As you can see, there's 2 different, coincidentally, in each one of those, there's 2 different types of grant programs in each of those. So we're going to go through those as well. First, I wanted to go over Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They really govern a lot of the market. Those are when people say conventional loans. That's Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Those are the 2 entities that all of the conventional loans are essentially securitized by those entities. They are called government-sponsored entities. And this is the definition here. I just thought it was just interesting because a lot of people just really don't know. So I just went to Wikipedia. They're government-sponsored entities and they're a publicly traded company. They basically securitize the mortgage behind the scenes. So some interesting reading there of exactly what they do. You'll never pay your loan to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. And like the state programs we mentioned, like USDA or the TSAC, you'll never pay your loan to those entities. They're just sponsoring behind the scenes, and then, you know, there'll be a servicer that services your loan. So just so you know, you'll never pay TSAC or City of Houston or Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. So I thought that was just interesting on that. And again, if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask. All right, so these are really great programs. Every client that we have that is purchasing a home, we always look up these areas. They have made this qualification more stringent. About a year ago, we could deal with income limits up to about $74,000 and it's only the borrowers on the loan. So if it's just one spouse on the loan and the other spouse is not on the loan for whatever reason, we just counted the income of the applicant. Now those limits have gone down in our area in Houston. They've gone down to, it's about 62,000. So we always need to look it up. It'll tell us where the area is and what the income limitation is. So there is a website. These are the two websites here. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac both have their own program. They're always silently competing against each other. So if Fannie Mae comes out with something, Freddie Mac, if they haven't come out with it yet, they start to come out with it. They really are competitors. So, you know, Fannie Mae wants more loans than Freddie Mac. So that's an interesting dynamic. So you can see here, I've got some bullet points. There's different income limits based on different areas. It's based on median income. Okay, so right now it's at 80% of the median income. There are some areas that have no income limit. It's more rare than it was a year ago. They've patched that up to make it harder to qualify for some reason. I'm not sure why they did that, but it is important to go to the map. So we always go to the map. And what you get when you do qualify in either of these, and you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. If you notice in the Fannie Mae one, the one on the left, you can own another property. You can own one currently, like a rental, or rent out your current property and gonna occupy the new one. But the other one on Freddie Mac, you do have to be a first-time home buyer. So that might disqualify what we would do in one or the other. But the main benefit here is lower PMI. There are not hits to the rate. When someone has a lower credit score, there's usually some higher rates and higher PMI that are applied. That erases with this program. So if someone's doing a condominium, there's actually quite a few hits for that. If it's a low loan amount, there's different things that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac see as a higher risk. And so the rates are higher for lower credit score, condo, loan amounts being under a certain amount. So these programs erase those overlays and really make it more affordable with a better rate, better PMI, private mortgage insurance. So they're really, really great programs as long as, you know, the borrower meets the income limits, okay? Home buyer education is required for both of them. That's the bullet point at the very, very bottom. However, on the one on the right, Freddie Mac, you only have to take home buyer education if you're a first-time home buyer. The home buyer education is about $75. It's an online course, so it's not too worrisome. It is offered in Spanish as well, but it's good because everybody gets aware of more homeownership facts, which is great. Okay, any questions again about Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac about this Home Ready or Home Possible program? And any lender can do this, by the way. They don't have to be approved. So any lender should be definitely offering this. And we look for our borrowers, whether they know about it or not. We always look for them. So we make sure and offer that. Okay, MCC credit is another federal program, okay? This is definitely, you have to be a first-time buyer. It's up to a $2,000 credit at the time of taxes, and it's just a flat $2,000. However, for some of the lower purchase prices, there is a formula that we have to use. Sometimes the benefit is only $1,400. If it's a lower priced house, then it's not as large of a benefit. So there is a calculation. We are allowed to use this income as for qualifying. So let's say you take the $2,000 and divide it by 12, it's $166 we get to add monthly to the income. And for some borrowers, this helps us get them approved for that, just that home that they want if they're at the top of their limit. When you qualify, and again, this has income limitations as well, you're going to see a common theme in all of these programs. We have to count all of the household income, even if they're not on the loan. So that is something that disqualifies some people. And depends on the household size. On this one, and the income limits are higher than they were with what we just previously went over on Home Ready and Home Possible. And then it's just a certificate that they get, and every year when they file their taxes, they just turn it in to the government when they file their IRS tax return, and then you get your $2,000. So it's super cool. It's a great program, and you don't have to use other down payment assistance to get it. You can just have a standalone MCC credit and have just a regular loan without any other down payment assistance. Okay, so any questions about that, let me know. All right, USDA, this is the loan that I mentioned is in more rural areas. It's the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and it's meant to spur ownership in more developing areas. So this is a 100% loan. So it is 0% down. There's no money to pay back like there is in some down payment assistance. I've got the website there. You can see if the property that you're buying. For example, we have an employee who lives in Bridgeland, which is in Cypress. Part of the neighborhood is USDA, but it's only the little outskirts that's now developing. The whole neighborhood a couple years ago used to be USDA, but now as it's developed, those maps are always changing. So as you go outside of Houston metro area, the outskirts is usually where that is, but it's definitely worth a look up. Okay, so you can also mix this with down payment assistance, which are some programs I'll go over in a minute. The credit score on this has to be 640, and they have to use the household income as well. 3 years tax returns are required to view what the income is. And it's USDA, they can be a VA loan, a FHA loan, well, USDA is a type of loan, sorry, it's 100% loan. 30-year fixed only. There's no repayment of anything. It's just a freebie. Okay. You cannot roll in closing costs. That's where people will use and tack on the down payment assistance portion to tack it on to the USDA loan. So we'll go over that in a couple of slides that are coming up. Okay. Rates are a little bit higher on this. You know, as of, well, almost a year ago, the rates were 6%. They are a little bit lower now, probably more close to 5%. Need to update my slide, but the rates are a little bit higher than just regular conventional and FHA loans, so you can expect that. Okay, we are going to go through now TDHCA. This is a state program. So what the federal government does is they allocate monies down to the states to distribute as they see fit. So TDHCA is one of them. We'll go over another one, TSAC, and then SEF. Those are the three main state ones. Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. I put the website here. I snipped for you. These are the current limits. So the ones on the left, starting with 74,900, those are for non-targeted areas, which means they're not as developing areas. The ones on the right, you'll notice, have higher income limits, and those are for areas that are more developing. They might have a larger statistic of lower income borrowers. So again, this whole initiative is to help the lower income bracket attain home ownership. So if it's an area that the person is buying the house that is targeted for development and trying to redevelop, then it's in this targeted area. So we've got to go to the website. We've got to check it out on really every address. But you'll see how the limits are different. And these are You can see the guidelines here below. You have to have a 620 credit score. You can get 3 to 5% assistance of the loan amount. Okay, so if your loan amount's 100,000, you could get 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. So as your percentage of help changes, the interest rate does go up. Now, interest rates do change. They don't change often. They change maybe every couple of months. That we don't know when they're going to change. It depends on what the bond market is doing, and the state regulates that. So every lender is going to have the same rate on these. So we go over with the client how much assistance they need, how much they have. Now on this program, it is repayable. You do have to pay it back when you refi or sell the house. So this one, if you'll go down to almost the third from the bottom bullet point that says repayment, 0% interest, 30-year deferred. So it's a second lien on the house, but there's no payment. So it's when they sell on the title, there'll be a lien for, let's say, $5,000, and they would pay it back at that time. Okay, so the clients really have to be careful when they want to refinance later on. They can't refinance without paying this off. So it is, we had someone call us the other day that wanted to refinance and we weren't able to. She didn't have enough appreciation yet to be able to absorb that payoff, okay? So we do have a question that I'm going to answer. Let's see. Okay, for the loans that require household income, but only one person is on the loan, does everyone's credit need to do the minimum? That is an excellent question. So the answer is no. So what that means is, well, I'll answer it no. You use just the income, the credit score of the applicant. So let's say I'm on the loan and my husband's not. So only my credit is pulled. If it's an FHA loan or a VA loan, the spouse income has to be pulled to know the household debts. But let's say my husband's credit score is super low. Let's just say he has a 500. Then his credit score is ignored. It's just like, whoop, put the blinders on. All we're looking for are the monthly debts for the household. And then in addition, on the income, they have to get my tax returns and see the household income. They take a 3-year history. They see if it's declining or increasing. They take, if they're self-employed, they take an average and they review that. But only the credit score for me, the applicant, is considered to meet that 620 threshold. That was an excellent question. Excellent question. So, okay, let me just make sure. I think we're done with TDHCA. So now we're going to go to TSAC. This stands for Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation. Again, I have the website here. The limits you'll see are identical to the TDAC. They both use the same targeted, non-targeted area. This one has no first-time home buyer requirement. And there's 2 programs under this. So anytime someone asks me, I'm a teacher, I'm a firefighter, I'm a hero, is there a special program for me? The answer is yes. So it would be the Homes for Texas Heroes. You'll see it there in red. You can be a firefighter, teacher, police, EMS, correctional worker, or a veteran. It gets tricky because if you're a teacher or if you're an assistant to a teacher or an assistant to a professor or a nurse, for example, you really do have to be a nurse. The administrative type positions don't qualify for that. But if you ever have any question, just let us know. Again, this is 3 to 5% assistance. 620 is the minimum credit score. Now, the Home Suite Texas is available to any person. So again, you don't have to be a first-time buyer to benefit on this, okay? The qualifications are super similar to the TDHCA. There's no repayment. Again, I'm towards the bottom for the grant. As long as you live in the house for a certain period. So TDHCA that we just went over has a repayment. This one has no repayment as long as you live in the house for a set period. Now, you're probably wondering, why would I do the TDAC one if you have to repay it? where TSAC, you don't have to repay it. Well, the interest rate. The interest rate is about a 0.75% difference higher for this one that you don't have to repay. So, you know, it does cost, you know, more money. So what we do is we see what clients qualify for when we're approving them, and then we just see what's better. I'll do a little chart and say, hey, here's one with no repayment, here's one with repayment, and then there's a third one we're going to go over in a second. So again, household income is viewed just even if they're not on the loan. And again, all these programs, there's a higher rate. So this is the downside. I mentioned that I talked to you about just the downside, that when we're coaching people on whether or not down payment assistance is good for them, I'll just say, look, here's a regular FHA loan with no assistance. You know, maybe you can get a seller credit, maybe you can get a gift, you have some of your savings. Here's a loan that has a grant with it. Let's just say they're using TSAC, Home Sweet Texas. And then I'll show them the two. And this one, of course, would have a higher interest rate. Usually it's a difference of about 1%, sometimes not as severe. If you're only taking 3% assistance, you might just have a 0.5% uptick in the rate. So we compare both. We talk about funds that the borrower has access to. And sometimes borrowers decide, you know what, I'm going to take out of my 401k, use my own money, and not use the state's money because I don't want to pay the higher rate. So, but sometimes this rate is perfect for people that don't have family that can give them a gift. They don't have 401k. And this really is the only money that they have accessible to them. It's a great deal. So it's great for some people, and some other people don't think it's so great. So they'd rather take the lower rate and get the money in some other ways for down payment. So when I just want to mention this, and then I'm going to answer a question. So when homeowners call me, they say, hey, there's 100% financing. Yes, there is, if you think about it this way, that basically you have, it depends on how you disguise it, right? You have to put, unless you're doing USDA, you have to put 3.5% down on a conventional and 3% down if you're a first-time home buyer on, 3.5% on FHA. And you don't have to be a first-time buyer for FHA, by the way. Or 3% down if it's conventional, first-time buyer, and 5% down if you're a non-first-time buyer. So there's a payment required, a minimum payment. We just use the assistance to offset that. So technically, yes, you could call it down payment assistance. You know, it just depends on, again, how you disguise it. You can package it up a lot of different ways. Okay. Let's see. Any questions? Oh, the one thing I wanted to say, on these programs, the rate is higher, but then also there are some origination fees. This TSAC program, it requires an origination fee of 1% of the loan amount, and there's $6,700 in fees. On the prior one, the TDAC, let me go back to that one. Down at the bottom, you can see there's no origination fee on this one, and there's still $600 to $700 in fees. So the fees can add up a little bit more. So if you're getting estimates on these types of programs and you see higher fees, don't be surprised. It goes to the state for administering the program. So, you know, I do tell everybody, listen, yes, there's down payment assistance. None of it is free, but you know, depends on how you look at it. It can be a great deal. And to mention, I'm just going to go back really quick to the MCC credit, the one that's for the government, that's $2,000 back on your taxes every year. That one does have program fees as well. Now that $2,000 you would get every year that you live in the house. So you can get it next year, the year after that, the year after that. The upfront fees at closing are maybe $700. So you really recoup that super quickly. So just wanted you to be aware of that and not be surprised if you're looking at those programs. So this is the third state program. We went over TDHCA, we went over TSAC, and now this is the SEF. So SEF stands for state, it's the Southeast, it stands for Southeast, SETH, Southeast Housing Corporation. So it's under the Texas State Affordable Housing. It's under TSAC as well, but it's for Southeast Texas for some reason. And they have two programs. They have the 5-star program and the Gold Star program. So there's two different ones, okay? Super confusing, right? There's TSAC and TDAC and SEF and all these things. I know it can be confusing. This one as well, actually, we've been using this one a lot. I think that from analysis, the rates are super favorable. This one goes up to 7% assistance. I actually need to change my slide because the 6 and 7% assistance had gone away and now they're back. So remember, or keep in mind, these funds run in and out of money. And so about a year ago, you know, our company said, oh, we just got word from Seth that there's no 6 or 7% money available. So I will change this here. It says here 3 to 5 assistance, but it's actually 3 to 7. So recently we've had some home buyers that, you know, again, they have, well, this credit score is more stringent, 640. Again, you've got the income limits. We can use it with any kind of a loan. They do not have to be a first-time home buyer. And with 7% assistance, these homeowners literally have come to closing with zero money. Like they even got their earnest money back. I think they came out of pocket total like $100. So they used this. I believe they got a little bit of a credit from the seller, maybe a couple $1,000s. So together, collectively, it paid for the 3.5% down payment requirement, the closing costs, and it was fantastic. So I really like this Seth program. And again, the rates are pretty reasonable. This one does, if I'm towards the bottom, it does have an origination fee, that 1% origination fee to it. If their debt to income ratio is below 45%, so if they have more favorable credit and more favorable debt to income, then the origination fee is actually waived, which is really nice. So that's 1% of the loan amount. So on a $200,000 loan, that's $2,000 that they don't have to pay. The fees of $600 to $700 always apply, but the origination fee on this one can be waived. One thing to mention on down payment assistance about all of them is we can't reserve it with the state until they're fully approved. And that includes the appraisal. That's what it means at the bottom. It says cannot be locked till fully underwritten. The good news about these programs, though, is that they really do not, the interest rates do not change often. Like I said, maybe every 45 to 70 days. It does depend on the market, but it's not volatile daily like the other kinds, the other regular, I say regular kind of loans, but the other types of loans, you know, FHA, conventional, USDA, okay? So, and again, all of these are 30-year fixed, primary residence only. So if it's a secondary residence or it's a, you know, investment, these programs do not apply, okay? Oh, one thing worth mentioning on Seth. Seth has some higher income limits. Really, the main limit that we've seen here in the Houston area for just a non-targeted area, which is the worst case scenario, is like $82,000. And so that's a lot of money for the borrower to have to make. So we've had a single borrower, and they have a, you know, they have a good job, and I think they made like $80,000. They were right under the limit. So the Seth is, in my opinion, in my analysis, the most expanded program that there is. And if you live in the home for 7 to 10 years, so the more assistance you get, they want you to live there 10 years. But if you live there 7 years to 10 years, then the assistance is forgiven on this one. So Seth is my favorite program so far of what I've been seeing. So it's really great. But I still compare all of them for the borrower. But again, if they're a secondary borrower, then, you know, TDAC, I can already put that one out the window. That they won't qualify for that. You have to be a first-time buyer. So, you know, there's ins and outs, credit score of each one. Okay. before we end with some questions, this is the SEF 5-star. There is a gold star program, and on that one, the credit score can go down to 600. So I think I'm going to add a slide to this for the next time. So someone can have a 600 score on the gold program, not the 5-star program, and still get access to the assistance. So really, really nice options available. So this concludes, I am going to post this. I'm going to send this out to all the attendees. I can see who joined today. I will send the link directly to you, and then please go, when you view it, it goes to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I do webinars every couple of weeks, so you'll be alerted if there's any new webinars. You can go there now and check it out, Loan with Jen, and we'd be happy to get you guys the education. So thanks for joining today. Oh, one question. Hang on, I got a couple questions. Okay. Do we have to apply for these ourselves, or do we and our team do it? We do it. That's a great question. So you could go and you could research it on the websites I gave. You can go be ahead of the game and take the home buyer education that's required, and have your certificate, which is fine. But the lender is the one that secures it for sure. That's a great question. All right. So yeah, be sure to talk to your lender about it. Hopefully that's me. Have a great day, everybody. Legacy Mutual Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity lender. The opinions expressed here do not reflect those of Legacy Mutual Mortgage.